Hey everybody, Matthew here with MEB Pod. Like I mentioned in my little previous story there, I am back. So with that being said, I apologize for, not that anyone really watched it too much, but we're back and we're running up and we're happy to be here and doing this thing again. I kind of slacked. Well, I did slack. I didn't do it. I don't want to say I'm a procrastinator, but that's kind of what I did. I just stopped doing it because I got fed up and tired of this being so difficult. I am getting a little more comfortable on the cameras, which is kind of hard for me, but I guess I gotta get over those little fears, and I shouldn't be afraid because I should enjoy what I'm doing, and it's difficult, but it's definitely a fun thing to do. But with that being said, we're gonna kind of get right into it. I don't have anything really prepared today, as my other episodes in the past, but this is going to be kind of just going with the flow, just to get, like I said, another thing out there, and eventually, like, I've really started to really dial in on trying to learn the editing part. Eventually I'm gonna go get a nice little camera once I find work, and that's kind of it. So let's get this little episode started. This, of course, is my podcast. If you didn't follow me in the past ones, you obviously know, or you don't know, my name's Matthew. I'm trying to do this little podcast thing that kind of follows a little bit of like a what a part of my take / brilliantly dumb show kind of thing that kind of follows all sports in general. I'm not much of a gambler guy like those guys, like the Big Cat and PFT and Bob and Mikey and Joey D, D-Man, Cold Cuts. But I want to kind of base mine on what they do and more or less just kind of talk about what's going on in life and eventually in sports, current events, that kind of stuff, what's going on. But with that being said, I'm not stealing. I don't know, I am, I guess. Today, I want to do on the Brilliantly Dumb Show, they have their top 5 at the end of the episode. They have a buy or sell at the beginning of their episode. Part of my take does their Mount Rushmore, and then they do their hot seat, cold, whatever. It's I kind of want to take a few things from them. So for today, I'm going to kind of start with my top 5. I don't want to I'm going to find another name for these segments down the road. And a buy or sell, I want to do that. So with, I guess, my buy or sell, one of the biggest buys is that MEB Golf is a proud member of Team Ghost Golf Club. Play fearlessly. Can't even say that. But no, it's been super great what the Ghost Golf has been able to do for me. They've sent me, hats, ball markers, glove after glove after glove. I've got plenty of gloves out here. I've got golf tees in the bag right now. I've got what else do I got over there? I've got more hats. I've probably got 6 or 7 hats. I've got a pair of pants, t-shirts, jackets, pullovers, quarter zips. They've sent me a ton of stuff, and I'm super grateful for that. So definitely buying stock on Ghost Golf. I'll try to tag them in the post, and hopefully we can get them some sales or recognition or whatever you got to do to get them, doing that. So that was really cool. I guess since it's been so long, I'll do 2 buys, and Scottsdale, Arizona. This place, I know I've been here for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe. I don't know. I guess it's probably 3 weeks. This place is unbelievable. I absolutely love it. I guess I've been here for a month now. This place is incredible. I know it's kind of silly, whatever. I haven't really done much. I haven't found work yet, but it's coming. That work's coming. But the golf has been great. People I've met out here have been great. So with that being said, I'm going to buy Scottsdale and Ghost Golf. So which kind of play hand in hand because the golf out here is pretty incredible. I'm going to be rocking these hats all around the area. So with that being said, this is, I don't even know what episode because I stopped doing it because I was being lazy and frustrated. I couldn't figure out this editing. But it's not about the editing. It's about getting people out there and doing something I like to do. So we'll get there at editing down. I'm going to master it one of these days and, looking forward to that. But today, we just talk. So with that being said, we'll get into sports a little bit. obviously, a ton of sports lines have happened since I last created a podcast or an episode. LeBron James to the 76ers, Jaylen Brown to the 76ers, the Greek Freak down to Miami, LaMelo to Minnesota. I guess just as recently, we've got some football news. You've got that Arizona Cardinals and Carolina Panthers Hall of Fame game was absolutely incredible. Congratulations to the Hall of Fame recipients. Now that I'm in Arizona, I guess I'm going to adopt the Cardinals as my new football team. Still going to be, I'm not a big gambling man, so I'm not really betting all that much. So, but I'll root for the Cardinals. I know they'll probably be one of the worst in the league this year. But after watching that Hall of Fame game, Carson Beck, a Miami boy where I just came from, looked awfully good. Now I know we can't really buy too early because it's been three quarters of a game as the Hall of Fame game. They're not playing their studs and I get it, but he looked good. I got to give credit where credit's due, but it was really neat to watch him play. We had, obviously we're in like the deadest of baseball season. The big important games are coming now. Obviously, being from St. Louis and a big Cardinal fan, they had a home run derby champion, Jordan Walker, which is kind of caught me off guard, but we congrats to him. We are playing wonderfully. I think we're 3 games out right now with the 3rd wild card spot. We're definitely still in it. We just took 2 or 3 from the Phillies, but we've got a 3 or 4 game series against the Cubbies coming up here this week, so that'll be really, really big. If we could take 3 or 4 out of the against the Cubbies, and we need those, Padres and the Diamondbacks. And I know I'm in Arizona, I can't really root against them. I won't, but in this case, I will. I'll root for them when they're not playing the Cardinals and not affecting the Cardinals to get in the playoff spot. So we need Padres, Diamondbacks to lose, and obviously the Cubs to lose because those are the 3 teams in the playoffs right now. And the Marlins. Marlins are close. I think they're a half game out of the 3rd place wild card. So we need the Marlins to keep losing too. So with that being said, obviously Skubal went to the Dodgers. Which I guess is not a good thing. I'm not really sure. I don't know all like the minor details and all the backgrounds of like the bargaining deal, the salary cap in baseball, and that we might go on strike next year, might not have baseball next year. So whatever it is, please explain it to me because I have no idea what's going on, and I really just hope we have baseball next season. Because like I said, baseball's kind of been my favorite sport. Obviously I like to play golf, but baseball's been kind of my go-to sport. But with that being said, now that I live in Arizona, I have no hockey anymore because the Coyotes went up to Utah. But I could always catch a game in Chase Field or a basketball game over there at the whatever the arena's called out down here. And I'll have to catch a Cardinal game, Arizona Cardinal game over there in Glendale, which I'm looking forward to. So obviously, sports are pretty prevalent out here. I'm really looking forward to continuing to go to the games and doing all that kind of stuff. But I guess that's kind of it for like the major sports. We did have, obviously we'll get into a little professional golf. We'll talk about Michael Brennan. Congrats to Michael Brennan on the Wyndham Championship, winning that. It was nice. It was really cool to see. I claim that he's like our long-lost cousin or something because he obviously has the same last name as me. So way to represent the Brennan name, Michael. Out of Wake Forest. Hopefully we can see more of you in here. The playoffs here starting in Memphis here this weekend. So with that being said, obviously you got a lot of guys, favored. Michael Brennan I think was like 47th, and he had to be in the top 70 or something to get into the playoff. And I think Jackson Coyman was 70th, which is the young kid out of Auburn, which I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does in the future. I doubt he wins the playoffs or whatever, but it will be interesting to see what he does in the future. So with that being said, we'll kind of dive right into what's very, very popular in my space, my little world here of what I'm trying to do, and that's YouTube golf. I obviously kind of am a little inspired by my buddy Marco over at the Scratch Golf Show. I appreciate you. You're kind of my news, my little news channel, my source to anything YouTube golf. You are on top of every little detail of every YouTuber out there. It's amazing how much knowledge someone could bring in on a certain subject like that, or where you get it from. I don't know. I don't ask questions, but so you're my source. I appreciate you there, Marco, from the Scratch Golf Show. If you're not following, please go follow him. It's good stuff. So with that being said, obviously we have a Internet Invitational being filmed, I think, right now, actually. So that is going to be over at Big Cedar Lodge, same as it was last year. Last year there was 48 players. I'm hearing from Marco that there's going to be 64 players this year, from all over the YouTube space. Some people made it back, some people got kicked off, blah, 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 whatever. Obviously a lot of the key important people, obviously your Barstool guys with the foreplay. You got the Spit and Chicklets, Jersey Jerry, Hank, and PFT, I think, are your Barstool guys. Oh, John Gruden, of course, too. And then your Bob the Sports guys, you got Bob, FB, Cole Cuts, and Jet are the ones returning from there. You've got the Note Boys, Celine and Kyle, Celine the Dream. You've got Big John, which was a controversial thing with Dave and blah, 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 whatever. And one of my favorites, my new favorites to the social media world, and that's Chetty at Freezer Tarps. This guy, if you don't follow him, I understand why. It's probably, if you have kids or whatever, you probably should follow him. The guy is hysterical. Some of the stuff he posts are just, I just can't, I would cry. I sit there and doom scroll all his stuff every other night just because it's so funny. The guy is incredible. Obviously I mentioned Big John. He, I guess, got tight with the Note Boys and, plays some golf with those guys all the time down there in Miami. And he's, the all heart, fall for more, fog, king, whatever, gets all fogged up and drinks and runs 5 miles. And I guess he caught on pretty quick. I'm not a big follower of his, but I see it. Obviously, it pops up in my stuff. He's grown so big. And then, of course, you got your favorite grass stomping girl, Paige Sporanic, back. I know she was a little big controversial pick. She wasn't sure if she was going to play. And then Francis, and her kind of got into it a little bit last year's Internet Invitational. And I guess he had called and said, you need to come back. You deserve a spot, whatever. She's back. And then Melosi, who was the big Slopegate, whatever, blew up the internet for couple weeks there, and the poor guy got some heat for it, but at the end of the day, it's reality TV is what we're watching here at the Internet Invitational. There's some great golf, there's some horrible golf, and there's going to be some controversy. And I think that's why I love this Internet Invitational so much. I think it's one of the best things to happen to golf, aside like your Masters, major tournaments, and not to be biased here, but that Waste Management Open being down here, I think that Internet Invitational is the best thing to happen besides those major tournaments, US Open, Masters Open, and PGA Championship. I think it brings a different crowd to become a fan of the game. I know you have your shrink the game and grow the game and whatever. This is definitely going to grow the game. Are people out there not approaching the game of golf certain places in the worst ways, probably, but not as much as you might think. That's in my opinion, of course. But I really do think it's helping the game. Obviously, you got Bob the Sports collaborating with LeBron James, and then guys like John Rahm, Justin Thomas, all these professional golfers, Xander Schauffele, and of course you got Grant and the Brian Bros and the foreplay guys and all these other guys doing the same thing, collaborating with the biggest stars of the PGA Tour, except for Rory McIlroy, because he's anti-YouTube golf for whatever reason, and that's his own. If he wants to think that way, that's cool. Obviously you can't change anyone's opinion, but I'm all for it. As you can see, I love the space. I love the people in it. I think it's great. Any other topics on the Internet Invitational? I guess you got the good guys. You got Garrett and Marissa, who them two are dating now. Obviously, if you follow the golf world, YouTube golf world, you know that. And then you have Sabrina Andolfo from the Golf Pro Games, who's also going to be there. And supposedly there's some little friction between Marissa and Sabrina because the golf girl game split to go to the girls with the good girls, and it was a whole ordeal. I don't believe that's a thing. They're both very successful. They're both enjoying their time doing this golf thing, and I don't think there's going to be any problem there unless Dave stirs it up and pays them enough money to actually cause something. But we'll see. I don't think there's much anything else in that golf world. There is one thing, I guess, that I do want to talk about with when it comes to I guess we did to like our your favorites in the Barstool Invitational Paws Sports. I think if you had to pick if it's the same, like it's amazing why this is such a popular thing. I think Rory McIlroy does not really care for the YouTube golf. I mean, this is just my opinion, but he doesn't care for it because it's creating, drama, and it's not like your typical golf, how it's supposed to be played. But it's grown so big that last year, this Internet Invitational, the winners took home $1 million. This year, it's $4 million, which to me is incredible. Some 3 of these or 4, I don't know how the format's going to be for this, but 3 or 4 people are going to take home $4 million, and that's incredible to me, and it's life changing for a lot of the people that are going to be playing in it. Maybe not a Johnny Football or you got Justin Gaethje, but it's not about the money for some of these people, but it will be a life changing amount of money for some of these people. I know Brad Dahlke won last year, and he went out and bought himself a house with his wife, and Francis Ellis bought, put a lot of money in his whatever account, and then unfortunately, rest in peace, Beef. A lot of his money went to the foundation to, I believe to support youth golf, and which is incredible. So, like I said, it's obviously going to some good causes too. It's not going just to waste at the nearest gambling, whatever, So I think that's kind of brought YouTube golf on. But if I had to pick my winners, I don't know if that's like a thing. If you Stephen Possible, if there's odds, or if you, not that I'm a big sports gambling guy, but I think guys like I had to pick one top tier, mid tier, and low tier players. I think you got to have a Barstool guy in there. I think if I'm gonna pick. Who do I think? I think low tier. I think Bob's gonna pull one this year. Pull a win. None of the Bob the sports guys were represented very well last year, except for the Jet. He made it pretty far in there. And then mid tier, give me a guy like Ryan Whitney. There's your Barstool. And then top tier, give me a Ryan Ruffles. So 2 Ryans: Ryan Ruffles, Ryan Whitney, and Bob. I think they're gonna pull off the win. And if I had to pick a 4th, because I don't know how the format is, give me Chetty. I think this guy has gotten a lot of hype over the last 4 months. I think this guy's gonna pull one off. Unfortunately, I guess I could put a girl in there. They didn't win last year. And if I had to pick a girl winner, redeem. Maybe Paige can redeem herself from whatever she did last year, and maybe she can pull off a win. So there's my 4, and or 5, I guess. That I think have a chance to win. Obviously, this is going to be very entertaining. From my source, Marco, I appreciate you. I believe it's going to be coming out in September, same timeline as last year. It was about 6 episodes last year. I don't know if it's going to be longer because there's more people in it, but hopefully, someone can get out there and let me know in the comments. So with that being said, I think that's my little take on the Internet Invitational. I might have more, but there is, obviously, probably a whole lot to talk about. But with that being said, I do kind of want to get into one little subject, and I know this is none of my business, but we've got Bob Does Sports, and this might be it's not a hot take, it's just a concern or a question or whatever it might be. Obviously, Bob Does Sports seems a very tight-knit group. You got FP, Cold Cuts, Bob, Jensen, and Jet, and Bone, kind of behind the cameras. Now, with that being said, they used to have a guy, if you don't follow, a guy by the name of the Big Ticket. Obviously, people out there who do know who the Big Ticket is. His name was Neil Arnett. I missed the guy on the episodes. He was pure comedy. Very molded very well with the group. Was just always cracking jokes. Always seemed very happy with the group and the way things were rolling. He's from Philadelphia. Whole story behind him is he met Bob and the guys from the hotel and whatever. There's a long story. You can kind of do your research on that if you want. But my question is, and I know, like I said, it's none of my business, but why did he leave Bob Does Sports? I don't know if it was like a falling out with him and the guys or something happening in his personal life. Like I said, it's none of my business. So, but I'm just confused because he went back to Philadelphia where he's from, and now he's filming with another kind of golf YouTube brand, Chunked. I don't know what. And so it looks like he's kind of more or less doing the same thing. But I can't imagine it was like a financial thing because Bob, I'm sure, was compensating Ticket very well for what he was doing. So that's like my biggest concern. Why did the big ticket leave? If anyone knows, like I said, it's none of my business, but if anyone knows why the big ticket left, let me know in the comments. That would be fantastic. Shout out to Big Ticket. I hope you're doing well out there. And Bobby and all the boys, let me know. Just want to make sure Big Ticket's all right. I haven't heard from him other than seeing him on socials with like his food and stuff like that, and a little bit of that chunk stuff. But wish you the best of luck, Big Tick. Hope to hear from you more. Hopefully we can get you on an episode of Brilliantly Dumb or Bob Does or even MEB POD. We'll get you on here. So with that being said, that's kind of more or less my take on the Internet Invitational, Bob Does Sports, Foreplay, and you know what else? I'm not going to drop this on there, but Kevin Kisner. I'm really looking forward to having him out there on the course with the guys to see what happens with him. But more or less, like I said, this is kind of what I want my podcast to look like. Hopefully I do eventually down the road. I know I said this in other episodes that I'm going to get guests and do this and that, whatever. But I do have, other than the Rode mic, I do have 2 wireless Rode mics too, so I can get someone on the guest. We could do this here. We could do it outside somewhere. We can do it wherever you need. Or obviously there's programs, video programs, edits, whatever, that kind of stuff. I don't really know. Like I said, I'm getting used to this. But I already did my buy or sell, and then I guess, like I said, I want to kind of format mine off of what Brilliantly Dumb Show does and do like a top 5 as well. I don't have anything prepared today because this is my first time back in a while. So top 5, I just got to do top 5 things in Scottsdale so far that I've done. Obviously the golf is fantastic. The number 2, the views. Number 3, the people. Number 4, the weather. The weather's not even that bad. And number 5, most importantly, is just the gratitude that all the support that the people from back in Miami, the people back in St. Louis, and obviously the people here so far have given me this opportunity to do something that's fun and exciting and new and different. And hopefully we can find a land a job, and then we'll get to the real world and get back at this. And I'm gonna start doing this once a week, bring me guests. So again, do all the things like I said in my story. Do the fun little like, share, subscribe. Hit the like button, share it with your friends, family, your grandma, grandpa, father, daughter, son, mother, sister. It's free, whatever. I don't really know what I'm saying, but I know this is what the other people say. Just do it. It's free. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I appreciate y'all for listening to that.